Just to add to in this program, it's just all like a contractor, like we're not going after the taxpayers, we're going after the people who are actually demanding services from us. But in this, with the basing down the liability for anybody working out roadway, a contractor can set up once, it's only a matter of seconds to do another permit, where if WSIB is in there and he has to change it, his insurance is in there, and all this stuff is in there, so we don't have to chase them around and say, do you still have your insurance, liability insurance to work on the road? That's what we used to do in the past. But this way, anybody working in the road, that it's going to be liability to the municipality if an accident happens. We have it all documented before they even get to work on the road.
Any other questions? None. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to 7.4, the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Art.
The Council of the Township of North Stormont received the 2023-2024 Finch Drinking Water System Inspection Report from the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks as presented for information purposes. Moved by Councilor Shane, seconded by Deputy Mayor Denton.
Yes, there's two tables in here. I'm trying to remember what the tables. Table 6 and 8. We talk about policies and conformity. So some of the answers just kind of seem ambiguous. So for example, there's a question here that says the municipality has established and implemented a sewage inspection and maintenance program where sanitary sewers could be a significant threat. The answer is no, but I'm not sure what no means. Does it mean no because it's NA, it's not applicable because we didn't install it? Is it no that we didn't install or no that it wasn't implemented or no? I guess I'm just not clear on, and I get the fact that these are probably boilerplate and you're kind of required to be answered, but just my general feedback is some of these statements that are made, I know they're looking for certain answers, but they don't help me understand more clearly what's being said, yes or no to.
I didn't have time to and with John and time wise to actually go through all this. And anything that's redlined or concerned that should come to council, like ahead before if you want to have a sit down meeting with Ontario Clean Water, she will highlight that to me if I pass it on, and all this stuff is brought ahead of time. We won't give you something that is a concern to as owners of the municipality. If we actually get it, they have to deal with it, and basically there's no highlights in this that she did bring forward to me. And yes, I can see how it's confusing. It's confused me, and I've been around a long time. So
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that was my presumption, is that if there's something out of line, you highlight.
Yeah.
So thanks for reinforcing.
So on that note, Blake, do you know what so we have 3 drinking systems?
Yes.
Between Finch, Chrysler, and Moose Creek. Now, are they scattered different timelines as to when they do Moose Creek versus Finch versus Chrysler? Or are they in sync where they're going to be following through with the other 2?
you mean for the license to take water or
For this report, it's only based on Finch.
Well, it's the ministry has they can actually call in 2 inspections on the same place year apart, or they might not do one for 3 years. It depends on their workload, and basically they have to do inspections. How in depth the inspection is depends on what the ministry would ask for, offer to provide. So it's how it works. It's not like you're guaranteed that July they're going to inspect Finch water plant. they give notice, we're going to do an inspection, this is the type of inspection we're gonna do. And,
So similar to an audit where
Yeah.
you just basically.
yeah,
So with that said, when you read this report and it's just questions and then the answer is basically, the question is repeated with ending in no, like it's very standard. I'd rather from the ministry, but if we got the verbal from Aqua to be able to just say, we met all the guidelines, instead of having council try to, you're reading the questions and it's kind of hard to. try to-
Difficult it's difficult for a lot of people to say.
But at the same time, I expect Aqua to be looking at these report and reporting back to us. And I strongly believe having Aqua come in to meet with council once a year, just to go over our water system, go over our roof. And so that's something.
well, and I think I mentioned it before, but yes, that's, in the past, I know, if you've been around when Blair was running, the hub, basically every year they came in, it's- sometimes basically it should be a council meeting or a meeting before the meeting, whatever you have, so you have time. Because it all depends on how much you guys want to, learn on it to say. And that's what happens when council changes over, it's a learning curve and,
We are responsible as a
Yeah.
council of
Yes.
all our quality of water, so it's something that maybe we could look into the spring, and just having, we're gonna be dealing with budget, possibly, we could have a brainstorming and just get reassurance of where we sit as far as all the compliance.
I can't remember, but I thought Lay used to come in earlier and you just had an early meeting before the council meeting. Yeah,
We can-
This is MOE.
yeah, but that's through Aqua, that's what, like, it's through, all this is through Aqua, Ontario Clean Water. And basically that's where we pay them to, manage our system. So, but I mean, that's what we have to do, the ministry won't come here and talk.
I'm not, I'm
Yeah.
one, as our
Yeah.
representative, to be
Yeah.
able to reassure us that
Yeah.
we're compliant, everything is good with the system, and
Yeah.
that's a approval that we can get possibly set up.
Through the chair, respectfully, I think I understand what Blake is indicating, but I think there would be benefit to have the awkward discussions in open council, because council has the same questions, like maybe some of the public who have referenced these reports have the same questions, and I think they should have the opportunity to give those answers. I think there's benefit to having Aqua available during the public council meeting, but that's certainly the discussion.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. Moving on to, or sorry, we did have the mover. So any further discussion?
Just to comment on that, frankly, it's fascinating reading the report, but I think when it comes down to us, and our responsibility by the state drinking water, and analyzing risk is, what people can focus on is, how to look at appendix C, which is the final risk calculation. And even though they are very boilerplate, here's the answer, here's that, what it comes down to is the risk assessment, what they mean, is there a risk present? And we are flying colors when it comes to that, just for the example. They have not identified the risk, based on the administrative sections.
Thank you. So any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carried. Moving on to 7.5, Clean Water Act 06 source protection.
The Council of the Township of North Stormont receives its annual report to Dissemination Source Protection Authority from Louis Sauvé, designated RMO for the township for information purposes. Moved by Deputy Mayor Denchman, second by Councilor Shan.
Any any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carried. Annual report for the 2023 for North Stormont, the addition. So that's the one we just did before. So now moving on to accreditation and construction.
That the council of the corporation of the township of North Stormont approves the additional cost for an air compressor system and its installation for a cost not exceeding $25,000. Moved by Deputy Mayor Benjamin, second by Councilor Shan.
Any questions? I'll start with Deputy Mayor.
I think it might be good to kind of give us a bit of an overview, but I'll ask some questions. So that maybe
For sure,
wrap
maybe
around
that, yeah.
at some point as well. The cost on this one, I know what you're suggesting we kind of wrap this into the financing, but I guess my question is, what are you projecting for 2023 in terms of your year end? Like, is there any surplus in your year end that could potentially absorb this versus doing this? Otherwise, maybe it needs to be a budget discussion. So, but anyhow, I think we need a bit of an overview. I had the fortune of having attended the last fire chiefs meeting, but
Fire committee meeting, yes, sir, through the chair. So this system came about from another department in our neighboring township that was upgrading and making theirs bigger because their call volume has increased. A new system is over, as I said in the report, is over 100,000 for a mid-range system, not counting all the other equipment that needs to be done. This mid-range system was done this year, as a matter of fact. We looked at other options, so the cost is there. Do I have reserves? Absolutely. Do I have any overruns? So far, I haven't seen any final numbers for 2023, but I don't foresee any overages in 2023 budget. We did have the water flood in Avonmore, and we had to go into our reserves for that as well. So I don't foresee any financing being able to be done from the 2023 budget. Moving forward to 2024, the reason I'm asking to go through this financing is that the construction financing has not been closed yet, and we're looking at options, and the options are on the table. This would not affect our rate, would not affect our anything, any cost or anything to the current terms that would be closed if they were to close without this. My budget was the only overrun or under budget that I have is the construction cost of this building. We budgeted 900,000. I'm 185 under. So I think going for that 25,000 financially makes sense, and then we could close the loan and do the terms for the budget. That's what we're trying to do, is get that number down for the budget consideration of 2024. As for the equipment, I know some of the current council wasn't at the fire committee, but the reason we want to do this is that we are currently minimizing the use of our air tanks only for calls. We're not, we're not doing what we're regulated to do, health and safety, and I've put that in my report, and there's no more questions to that we can, but that's basically the gist of it. I don't know if that answers your question there, Deputy Mayor.
thank you, because especially on the financing, thank you, that was good. I'm just sort of
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm also trying to.
Yeah.
Because what I'm trying to do is remind myself, and maybe it would help the other
Mhm.
councilors as well, is what's our current state versus future state? Because anytime you bring something like this in-house, there's going to be ongoing costs, there's going to be
Correct.
ongoing maintenance, and there's going to be other repercussions that potentially, now instead of calling an external vendor, now maybe some of the other fire departments during an active fire are going to be calling a Chrysler team who maybe wouldn't have otherwise been engaged in activity on the fire. I don't know what that's going to look like in terms of what are we doing now and what's the future state and what like to bring this in-house.
We are probably one of the only that doesn't have an air system. All our neighboring fire departments have it. Whether it's new or not, doesn't matter. We depend on North Dundas currently as a mutual aid help during calls, but we have to call them at all hours. And if they're not available, then we don't get the extra air. Then we're a little strapped for that. So we don't have a lot of calls often, but in the last couple of years, we've had 2 major structure fires where we've had to depend on our neighbors, and they have a mobile unit, so we've been blessed. But that's not always the case. So that's part number 1. So anybody depending on us for air would be very, very, I don't see it happening because all our neighboring townships have them. So we're probably, like I said earlier, one of the few. Secondly, as I stated, there is a maintenance cost. I think I've included that. I think it's about $3,400 for having an inspection. So we do have to have these inspections. I know there was a conversation during fire committee about the air tanks and their lifespans. In this case, they're steel. There's no expiry. So we won't have to worry about that. The other thing, there's a new intake and there's a lot of changes that was done to this system that we won't have to worry about cost in the next 20 years. So financially, and maintenance wise, there should be minimal risk unless there's breakage, and you can't predict breakage on new or old. But this equipment is working very well, and the specialist at M&L Supply, which is our local, has looked at this system and validated the cost as well as a good price for what it is. And it's a high value item. The other portion is our training and our usage and the maintenance of it all. Currently, we're going to have to look for a new maintenance, but because of the training that we've been providing our members at the levels they can do now the physical visual instead of paying $10 every refill. So our own men are trained to this system. So we will get training. It's included in that install, but everybody can do their own. So that'll reduce the cost of sending them out and the traveling back and forth of our equipment being sent out for visuals. The tanks will have to be hydrostatic, and this is our air tanks in the packs every 5 years, but that's it. Every other maintenance is already currently being done. The other thing is that we're going to be using them more into our real life scenarios and training mechanism. Right now, we're not using our air tanks because we don't have them. We don't want to depend on going elsewhere and having to pay for the refill. So that will enable our current standards to be maintained to the level that they should be. So there'll be training. As well as you all know, occupational health and safety also requires us to do other things like empty the air so that the air quality remains the same and so forth, which we don't currently practice because of the cost involved. There's a huge saving, but it's more the human factor than the financial aspect of the maintenance throughout the year.
Go ahead, Councilor Rizzo.
More so just a comment to, and I think the policy value for our system is there. The lifespan of the tanks themselves and the compressor unit, that's a different story. I'm assuming that won't have a lifetime shelf life. But it is a fairly new system from like age 2013.
19, I believe so.
The one thing I would like to echo was the comment from Deputy Mayor Benson is that if there is a portion of, as we come towards year end, of what is in that, if there is going to be a surplus that we use a portion of that towards, at the end of the day, if we don't, yes, there is a savings on doing it, but we are still financing an additional $25,000. So if we can minimize that or mitigate that a bit, the more we do and not have to affect our budget moves, the better. And then anything left over to roll in that one.
Just to the chair, sir, currently, if we put this through the finance it would not change anything in the 2024 budget. Whether we add the 25 or not would not affect our numbers for 24 for budget.
No, not that. At the end of the day, it's still 25,000.
Yes, I know, but it won't, yeah.
There is still that money.
Yes, there is still that number, yeah.
Any way we can reduce that? Better.
I agree. So when you say it will affect what I want to maybe see, and I'm not sure what the timeline, so there's 3 weeks before we have our first draft budget and identifying. So my concern is that was a bonus to come out ahead of our anticipated costs for the private fire hall. I am now anticipating costs to buy new fire trucks, getting a fleet schedule going. So existing reserves with that 185 in there with potential promotion. So there was looked at where we're actually in good financial shape to look at the next pump or whatever it is. So if we identify the 25,000, I understand if we can go through tax levy potentially, if it works, or, you know, the option is there but I don't know if I'd rather maybe wait at budget deliberation, but does that have implication as far as the purchase of with neighboring units?
I can't speak to finance in the loan, sir. I just know that to me financially, I know it's number, I know I get that. The terms of the loan would not be affected. How that affects the loan process, I don't know. Because if you want the debenture in your 2024 budget, we have to close that. So this is where and I'll let Mary acting CAO McQuaid speak to that because that's not my expertise. But my understanding is that the terms and interest rate would not be affected by that cost. But that you can't close the loan. I'll leave that to you.
No, what we have two loans. We have the Moose Creek loan and we have the Fire Hall loan. They're at this point still considered operating loans with the Infrastructure Ontario. They should be financed. So it doesn't affect, it's not going to affect your budget in any way, shape, or form as far as affecting the mill rate for taxes. But as
But it could affect
Adrian said, no,
if we go through taxation.
if we go
For
through
that 25
taxation.
cases, for that 25,000.
Correct. If you decide not to go with the loan, but just pay it outright, then yes, it will be an expense in the 2024 budget. So that's the trade-off. You know, if you go in the infrastructure loan, which has space, which will not affect your budget, or you can pay it outright, which will affect your budget.
Okay, but is it something that we can make that decision, so we're not gonna be closing that construction loan?
No.
Until we have our first draft, we're gonna get our new treasurer in place, and those discussions can be had on the direction that we would take. And if it is to take through the 185 that's remaining, and take the 25 and just put it through, that's be the choice of the council, but the discussions can be had on our first draft to the bridge. The council agree with that? Well, I'm gonna put it to a vote, so you guys let me know. I'll have Councilor Shane,
Might not be available.
Just, sorry, through the chair. Just to let you know that this sale, it may not be available, but the equipment may not be available. They're gonna sell it. So it's kind of important to know. Yeah,
That was actually the question.
Okay.
First, it's great, I think it's great to have it in-house, and not have to go
Mhm.
in neighboring township, but that was my question, is there a timeline? Give them an answer, because I've seen before, we've lost deal of the equipment by asking too many questions of installing this.
Well, I've got all the answers to the installation, the electrician and everything else, so that's set. I wish I could say I have extra funding. I can't confirm that right now. So, but at this point, I'm not sure if we don't buy it today. I don't want to say that if I don't buy it today, I won't get it tomorrow, but it's for sale, right? So I was the first to contact because of what's around, but I can't guarantee it. It'll be there in a month or two. But I don't want to feel like I'm impressing that on you as well. So that's an option that it may not be there in February. That's a risk, like I said, with secondhand equipment, right?
so where we stand with council is, we're not saying that it's not a needed piece. I think that it is granted for now, the station in Chrysler been made aware of that they're probably gonna be requested to possibly at 2, 3 in the morning to be bringing air tanks safe for fires that are taking place in Finch Avenue, because they're gonna be becoming the source of filling air tanks. Are they aware, or is there gonna be discussions on a plan, and who will be, is it everybody that can fill those things, or are you gonna designate?
Through the chair, we're gonna designate people from each station to start originally, especially during a call, because that pressure is on. Obviously, Chrysler is very excited to host this. They've volunteered to pick up the equipment. They've volunteered to reduce some of our costs. Obviously, a lot of the our firefighters are, different calibers of expertise, so they've all volunteered their time to lower the cost of the installation. And same as, so there's gonna be, let's say it's Moose Creek's call, we're gonna send somebody from Moose Creek, but I know Chrysler, they're all gonna chip in, and then we're gonna alternate. But every station is gonna have a team that will be able to handle that for each call when needed, yes.
Thank you. So, The motion is on the table right now that we are going ahead with, going through financing through the remaining loan that was on construction. So I'll maybe have you just reread it. And we'll have it.
That the council of the corporation of the township of North Dormont approves the additional cost for an air compressor system and its installation for a cost not exceeding $25,000. Moved by Deputy Mayor Nenshi, second by Councilor.
I think we've had a discussion, so we'll put it to a vote. In favor of installation at the cost under the refinancing.
Very open ended for those.
The report, the report says.
That we finance through the loan
The
restrict.
recommendation of the report is to finance.
Entire.
Correct, 25,000.
So we carry the fee or it can be deferred.
So I think for council purpose, I think one phone call can determine if it's gonna be there for in 3 weeks on not to worry for that aspect of it. If we felt that we want to maybe go, I think the way the CAOs are looking at me, maybe they don't want to go taxation.
No. We've had a big discussion on that, yeah.
So I'll leave it up to
Comments? I don't know, it's $25,000 for a piece of equipment. I think, I hear what you're saying, but I think we'll have opportunities to make offsetting decisions on that. When it comes like that. I'm kind of, right now, I'm still leaning to say, we're gonna do it, let's do it now, so that the teams aren't kind of sitting on the edge of their seat, wondering whether or not we're gonna get this through. And it gets financed at this point. Again, I agree with everything we're saying. And it would be good if we had a treasurer here to help us think this.
Manage
through,
that.
But we don't. So I'm kind of, personally, I'm kind of saying, why don't we just get it done and we'll try to make wiser decisions when we get the budget.
Through the chair, can we approve the system and look at the financing after? Is that an option? Does that work for council if we agree to purchase,
and approve the purchasing.
Yeah.
And then
determine finance? Does that work?
So
So I'd have to propose an amendment motion to approve. Direct staff to, different options, financing.
And bring it back at budget?
But yeah, I think it's a needed piece of equipment for.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we have a motion here to amend.
I just finance motion to determine.
Add to this.
Add to the
Okay.
existing motion. Administration and finance.
Add administration.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So we had it moved by Deputy Mayor Densham and seconded by Councillor Shane.
Actually, I think Councilor Jelly has to move the amendment, so I'll move that, I'll second the amendment. Then you can call the amendment.
Yes, it should be the right.
It should have been in one. It's right.
Yeah. I thought you were doing that.
Oh, sorry. I thought for the eighth grade.
We thought we'd make sense.
Sorry.
Price of purchase.
Small thing. That council amend the motion to authorize the purchase of an air compressor system and fund administration to examine finance options. By Councilor Jelly.
So all in favor of that motion? That motion is carried. You agree with that?
And then just pass that one as. Okay. Um,
Any further discussions? Everyone in favor? Carried.
Thank you, council.
Moving on to 8.1, the municipal bylaw.
You recall that bylaw number 03-2024 being a bylaw to authorize a lease agreement with Fourth and Foley JT Speech Therapy for leasing offices in the Moose Creek Recreation Center. We read it first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and sealed this 30th day of January 2024. Moved by Councilor Jelly, second by Councilor Shane.
Any discussions? Go ahead, Councilor Jelly.
Just going through, looking at the proposed lease. And the actual rate, square footage. When you break it down, we're looking at $9 a square foot plus HST. Which to me seems quite low. I know originally the provincial numbers kind of were quite high on what that may be, but this is an extremely low sum, in my opinion. I don't think it's appropriate for us to be sitting on council negotiating with the rate back and forth. So this time I would suggest deferring this. Again, my fear is this council will be subsidizing private industry. Talking doctor to account for the benefit of all. This is private industry that would injure others in the same. You really should not be in the business of giving anyone business that very interesting. My suggestion is
Go ahead, then.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And again, I know this is what you meant, but it's not council that's subsidizing, it's the regulators, right? And at the end of the day, I think we need to be fair but competitive in the market. And again, we're not here to become, to your point, an unfair, municipality is not meant to be an unfair competitive advantage potentially other businesses that are in the same municipality. So I can't approve it at the value stated. I'd love to see this being leased, and I love the businesses that are intending to go in there, and I'd love to see them established, but I think we need to make sure that the price is fair, and right now it seems way too low.
Thank you. Councilor Shane.
I pretty much be echo what Dr. Jelly and that said. So
So the intent, and I mean, the discussions were had with our administration and the potential company or business that will be leasing. We sort of had comparables with respect to our doctor's office being one of them, which again is general practitioner that serve in the, we've all seen the ad the county has put out with the incentives to get doctors in our community. They're not only here, but everywhere. They're hard to get. I understand what council is stating in the fact that there's other, this is not a general practitioner, it's more where there might be other businesses in our township that are renting at a more, and we would be subsidizing something that, now, again, that being said, we gotta be careful, because we can't, or they can't compete with rates from the GTA or even City of Ottawa or the city. So we have to possibly look at coming to an understanding, and I know it's not gonna be looking at $20 a square foot, but maybe a little higher than 9, but something that could be comparable possibly with counterparts in our area to be looked at. So I don't know, if administration could potentially get some of the comparables and maybe keep the discussion going. Like I said, I support the interest and what they're trying to do to bring these services in our community center, but we gotta be careful on how we
Through the chair, I'll be cautious in how I respond to this because I, of course, prior to my medical leave was dialogue and, trying to support. Not support, but try and provide some guidance. But ultimately, this is a council decision, which. We can certainly try to, obtain rental pricing comparisons for this type of use. It is going to be difficult because it is a municipal asset, and most of these businesses are in private rented spaces, so quite frankly, the owners of those properties do not have to disclose what their rent is. But we can certainly do our best to try and obtain the best competitive rental costs that we can try and that. It's a very unique experience, it's difficult to compare the North Dundas with Stormont. So I think we just have to be very cautious.
So do I have direction? Do we want to differ and give time for administration to further look into it? My intentions are to work with these people, and at the same time, we owe it also to our taxpayers to, and other businesses alike to not favor and get caught in that. So I will, well, now we have to, okay, yeah, so you read it, I have a mover and a seconder, and, do I have direction on,
Well, I'm not sure what the right process is. As presented, we're defeating it. That doesn't stop you from bringing back a new, recommendation, right? So I think what we're technically doing is we're defeating this. We're not referring to, we're actually defeating this one. And we'll entertain the idea.
Yeah, we can bring it back something.
so I'll put it to a vote, all in favor? Seeing none, so the motion is defeated. Item 8.2 bylaw number 04-2024 in regard to credit card policy.
Be it resolved that bylaw number 04-2024, being a bylaw to adopt a policy for the use of corporate credit cards by municipal employees, and rescind bylaw number 64-2015, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and sealed this 30th day of January 2024, moved by Councilor Jelly, second by Deputy Mayor Dancy.
Any questions? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Just a quick question. What changed? In the old versus new? It's always, I guess if we're ever bringing something in for update, it would be always good to highlight that importance.
The major change was, the fact that we got a new credit card. Because our gas station closed, we had to get a corporate credit card for gas purchases with Esso. Esso Mobile, or Mobile, I think they're called. So that's the reason mostly. There were some updates to some of it, but it was really just, more grammatical.
Seeing no questions or further questions, all in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Moving on to 8.3, bylaw number 07-2024, amending bylaw number 75-2022 on our human resources policy.
Be it resolved that bylaw number 07-2024 being a bylaw to repeal and replace bylaw numbers 75-2022 and 29-2023 to update and approve amendments to the human resource policy for the township of North Stormont to be read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and sealed this 30th day of January 2024. Moved by Councilor Videlli, seconded by Councilor Shan.
Any questions? Go ahead, CAO Cullen.
Through the chair, I would respectfully request council to defer this, as the CAO just returning from extended medical leave. I'd like to have the opportunity to review this, a very important, policy. Remember the changes that I haven't had the opportunity to really dissect and digest. I'd certainly like to have the expertise of the CAO, quite help me review this, but I'd just like to have the opportunity to really dissect exactly what we're proposing, and that way I can speak to it. Fulsomely.
Council. So, I'm in support, so I think, also making sure that our, this is written up with the changes that involve our staff. I just want to make sure that, they also get the opportunity to, so I'm not sure to what extent that was going to be one of my questions, but, we can follow up and just make sure that they are aware and supportive of the, whatever changes that we are making. I would suggest that we keep this all, put it to a vote, anyone in, or do we, Mary, do we put it as a deferral right now? So I'll pass it on as to defer this motion. Any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the deferral? Motion is carried. To bylaw number 08-2024 to amend bylaw number 48-2023 in regard to property tax collection policy.
Be it resolved that bylaw number 08-2024 being bylaw to amend bylaw number 48-2023, a bylaw to adopt a property tax collection policy for the township of North Stormont, read a first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and sealed this 30th day of January 2024. Moved by Deputy Mayor Denton, seconded by Councilor Jelly.
Thank you. Go ahead with there.
The question will be, what changed?
It's on the bylaw.
Okay.
That's right. Page 5, the mailing address for the municipality is now Box 40 Finch. Page 7, the reminder notice dates to be, the mailing of the reminder notice is changed to May, October, and January. And again, on page 7, it used to be 3 years in arrears, now it's 2 years in arrears for tax arrears letters, basically, for tax sales.
Okay, and when the mailing reminders run out May, October, and January, were they different prior to that?
Yes, I think April. I think they were 3 times. I think they were just sending out, chair. I believe they were just sending out notices twice a year. So I believe now this will reflect after the due dates. So reminder, yeah, after the updated, and updated interest. Yeah.
And sorry, so after the due date meeting, they will only go to people who have not.
Yes, anybody that has any arrears as of that due date, or anybody that is current past.
But it's tighter to the due date, so.
Yeah.
They're very perfect, it's very tricky.
Just a quick question, Mary, I'm going to pass that on site, but I'm just curious in regards to saying about the PO box. Could we not have kept our address the exact same and just make changes? Because the post office, I believe the mail was actually delivered to Finch before it came to Berwick. Could we not kept our same exact information, but have staff pick it up in Finch, or just curiosity question.
No, the post office wouldn't agree to that because there's no actual PO box in Berwick anymore. So we had a PO box in Hooters. So now there's no post office in Berwick anymore, so, and they don't, in the villages, they don't do, house to house delivery. So.
No, I thought it was
we didn't
similar.
have a choice.
I've done that for advanced mail from that, but the dwelling house is still there, so in this case, I guess if it's no longer there, I guess that answers. Thank you very much. So the motion that moved and seconded, any further discussions? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion's carried. Bylaw number 09-2024 to amend bylaw number 52-2023 on fees and charges.
Be it resolved that bylaw number 09-2024 being a bylaw to amend Schedule D to bylaw number 52-2023 to establish fees and charges for licenses, permits, certificates, and various municipal services for the township of North Shoreham. Read the first, second, and third time, signed and sealed this 30th day of January 2024. Moved by Councilor Jelly, second by Councilor Sheehan.
Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion's carried. 8.6 bylaw N-2024 appointment of staff.
Be it resolved that bylaw number 10-2024 being a bylaw to appoint a treasurer for the township of North Stormont be read at first, second, and third time, signed and sealed this 30th day of January 2024. Moved by Deputy Mayor Denton, second by Councilor Jelly.
You, question? Would you like to receive our new treasurer and just in time to hopefully getting through our upcoming budget? All in favor? Motion's carried. There is no unfinished business or new business, so we move on to the motion and notices of motion.
Whereas municipal public works departments from across the province of Ontario provide invaluable services to our communities, ensuring the health and safety of all residents. And whereas if it was not for municipal public works employees from across the province of Ontario, maintaining our public road systems, our communities would not be able to function as emergency personnel could not respond to calls, school buses could not get their children to school, residents would not be able to get to work, school or appointments, and many more basic functions would not be able to happen. Whereas municipal public works departments are already feeling the impacts of a labor shortage, which will only be exacerbated over the next 3 to 5 years, which will cause levels of service municipalities to be able to provide and ensure the health and safety of our residents to decrease. And whereas there is currently no provincial-wide course that properly trains potential municipal public works employees, specifically relating to municipal heavy equipment. Therefore, be it resolved that the Township of North Shoreham supports the work of the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors to develop a municipal equipment operator course to address this issue, and that the Township of North Shoreham calls the Provincial of Ontario Administrative Labor Training, Immigration and Skilled Trades to fully fund the municipal equipment operator course in 2024 through the Skills Development Fund, and that a copy of this resolution be sent to Minister of Labor, Training, Immigration and Skilled Trades, David C. The Township of North Shoreham, member of Provincial Parliament, Roland Quinn, and the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors. Moved by Councilor Jelly, second by Councilor Sheehan.
Maybe before I get questions, maybe Blake, what's the chatter between road superintendents across the counties on thoughts on that, on this?
It's a good letter for support because there is some training out there. It's fairly expensive for the municipalities to be sending and training all the people, and we knew basically, I mean, I know, and you know, it's hard to get workers anymore. And to find trained workers and the salary that we pay as a 40-hour week compared to a construction company, they just don't compete, we just don't compete with them because we're taking a $40,000 cut pay to come work in the municipality as an operator. So with this kind of support, it would be good for us to have new ones that we can send for training and have them step, learn what to do and not, we're not going to get rid of the experienced ones, but they can step in and learn and not really cost the township that much money to get more workers professionally trained for operating equipment.
Would that be just heavy machinery like loaders and stuff, or would we be looking at BZ endorsement, or is that not, that would probably be, I'm just thinking like of all the fire department having 75 guys.
Yeah.
Would that be something that?
We're looking more at the equipment like graders and backhoes or excavators and bunch of loaders. We're looking more at the equipment side where basically the DZ license is available to somebody who's getting a job with that, but it's hard for me to explain exactly, but we haven't been doing a lot of outside training where we usually hire people that have good construction experience and been operating different things for quite a while. But whenever they go, it's to get the new ones.
So this is only a motion, we're just asking this for support the, so the motion's been read, all in favor? Motion's carried. Motion to support letter to South Nation Conservation.
Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of North Stormont supports South Nation Conservation's request to Ministry Wilkinson, Ministry of Natural Resources Canada, regarding the enhancing of operational flood modeling and alerting in South Nation River watershed to help reduce flood risk across the watershed. And further, that council hereby directs staff to forward this resolution of support and a copy of the attached letter of support to Minister Wilkinson and support of South Nation Conservation. Moved by Councilor Majelli, second by Deputy Mayor Dench.
Any questions on? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion's carried. Moving on to correspondence from 12.1 to 12.6.
Be it resolved that correspondence as listed as items 12.1 and 12.6 on the agenda be received. Moved by Councilor Majelli, second by Councilor Shane.
Any questions of Deputy Mayor Dench?
No more, just highlighting a couple of these. One, just to remind small businesses in, well, just small, but small medium-sized businesses in North Stormont that the regional incentive program is currently open and accepting applications. I know that there have been businesses that have taken advantage of it. Far too few, in my opinion. There's lots of money to be had. The application process doesn't have to be cumbersome, and there are people, specifically Chair Kirkpatrick, the EDO for the county, is more than willing to work through the application process. So take advantage of that if you see an opportunity. The second was South Nation Conservation. They're establishing a watershed advisory committee, which is really the consolidation of 4 different committees that were meeting at independent time. It's a fairly big committee, but it's an important one. It looks at various things like forestry, fishing, communication, and so on and so forth. So if that interests you, it's going to be a whole new makeup of the committee. So if you're looking for a new committee that's going to cover a lot of ground, literally, this would be a good one to move forward for.
Thank you very much. Further questions on the correspondence? Seeing none, all in favor of receiving the reports? Thank you very much. Motion carried. Our scheduling meetings, there's only one meeting that will take place in February, which will be February 20th, and then followed by March 12th of 2024. In regards to coming event, I will be seeking interest on, I know our wardens have in his Bonfield in Curling Bonfield in Maxville on March, I believe the 2nd. So I'll see if there's any good curlers on the North Shore, so I can, talk to you on that. There is no closed session, so we can move. Oh, yes, there are. So, sorry, so as far as our scheduled meeting, there's only one regular council meeting taking place on the 20th, but we are having our first budget deliberation on, for first draft on, February 21st at, I believe 9 o'clock. And well, the public as well. Moving on to ratification of bylaw.
It resolved that bylaw number 11-2024 being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify council's actions at its regular meeting of January 30th, 2024. Be read first, second, and third time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 30th day of January 2024. Moved by Deputy Mayor Dencham, seconded by Councilor Michelle.
All in favor? Okay, motion is carried. Before I adjourn, I forgot I should have, I'd like to welcome back our CAO, after his leave. I think he looks, really good. I've been pleased when I came in yesterday and he's back into, his chair. So I'm looking forward to, our spring. We got a lot of work on our plates. And, we were fortunate to have Mary help out. I think the collaboration between you two to make sure that everything kind of transitions back to Mr. Calder, but for our residents to come in and come and wish Craig a happy return, and looking forward to working with him in the coming many years. Thanks. Moving on to our adjournment.
Be it resolved that this regular meeting adjourn at 7:44 PM. Moved by Deputy Mayor Dencham, seconded by Councilor Shay.
All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. So everyone have a good night.